We will use our 2 blocks. We're going to use our massage ball for our feet today, our yoga strap for some leg stretches standing, and your yoga blanket or any kind of thick blanket or towel to sit on or to use during shavasana, or for under your knees, whatever makes you more comfortable. And then having a chair nearby for our standing postures, for any extra support you want, or for sitting at any time. So I think that's it. Okay, so today we're going to talk about our spine. So it's really interesting that one of you was bringing up dancing and movement, because we're going to talk about the spine and really focus on the movements today as we're going through our practice. So I want to start with reading this. It's from a blog called Breath and Soul. It's Jewish mystic yoga and meditation. I just really loved this. So I wanted to share it with you as material that we can work with. The Gemara teaches the 18 blessings of the Amidah correspond to the 18 vertebrae of the spine beneath the ribs. So from C7, which is the bottom of your neck, that bigger bone that kind of protrudes a bit, from there down, those 18 vertebrae. There are also 18 mentions of God's name in the Shema. The spine represents a flow from higher to lower knowledge, similar to the Hebrew letter Vav, which also represents the knowledge from upper knowledge, higher knowledge, to the bodily knowledge. The ascending and descending spinal tracts are pathways that carry information up and down the spinal cord between the brain and body. So there's the science of it. The health of the spine has an impact on all the organs of the body. For a healthy spine, we need a full range of movements. Yoga activates all the movements of the spine, opening up a channel to receive all the godliness and information that is available to us in the moment. So this corresponds to ancient yoga teachings as well. The ancient yoga teachings talk about energy channels through our body, just like Chinese medicine does, just like the Kabbalah talks about energy in the body. So it's universal wisdom, right? Jewish yoga is a prayer from one's body, from one's own body. If your body was a prayer, how would you move? In yoga, there are different types of spinal movements. So just to review, we have flexion, which is when we round the spine, that's flexion. We have extension, which is arching of the spine. When we do cat and cow, we go from flexion to extension. And I like to think of zokef kefufim, going from bent to straight to upright. We have rotation, which we do a lot of, rotation. And then we have side bending, lateral movements of the spine. And then one we don't talk about very often is called axial extension. So axial meaning the spine, the middle of the body, and extension of the spine. And we can do that in our poses, and we're going to really focus on that today. Creating space in a vertical fashion, going upward, creating space in the spine before we go into any of our asana, just having that awareness of breathing space and length into the spine. So axial extension. So I love that this teaching about the 18 vertebrae and the wisdom inside of our bodies. And if you think of Torah living inside of your body, Torah means guidance. Our body gives us guidance. Torah means direction. It's the meanings are, guidance, direction, wisdom, law. All of those things are going on inside of our bodies and in our souls every moment. If we want to listen, if we want to open the Torah, if we want to open it and take in the teachings, right? Our bodies are like a Torah. So as we unwind that scroll, and be present, we can listen for the wisdom, the law, the things that are going on in our bodies, the next direction we need to take. So just little things to kind of throw out there to you today and see what sticks, see what works for you. as you move through your practice today. So we're going to move into breathing, like a pranayama or breathing practice. So you can be in a chair or seated comfortably. Sit in a way that you feel like your pelvis can just tilt forward a little bit so that your spine is nice and long. And we're going to combine this awareness of lengthening, this axial extension, with ratio breath. So you'll breathe in till your lungs are full and count. That might be 3 for some of you, it might be 4 or 5. So you're going to breathe in through your nose as you lengthen your spine. And then you'll exhale softly through your mouth and try to extend the exhale, double the count if possible. Every time you start to take a breath, check in with your spine again. Imagine that the crown of your head has a little gentle lift pulling upward to the heavens as you breathe in. Checking in again with your spine. We can become complacent with the teachings that are all around us, unaware of them. So really connecting with your spine again, lengthening, breathing in, opening to wisdom of your body and your soul. And perhaps taking a moment to really invite the wisdom, the Torah of your body to speak to you during practice today. Maybe little tiny messages, maybe big messages. Unrolling the scroll within your body. From our seated position, we'll take some twists. So inhale, reach your arms up. As you exhale, just take a gentle twist to one side. Let those hands come down and gaze over your shoulder. And then with your breath, just coming back through center on the inhale, exhaling to the other side. Bring awareness to the rotation of the spine. Can you feel what parts of your spine are moving easily? Does the upper or lower spine feel fluid or maybe a little sticky today? Good. Let's do one more set. The next time the arms come up, let the hands come together. And exhale, breathe it out, bring your hands to your heart. We can bring the hands to the legs and just start to stir the upper body around in circles. What do you notice? And change directions. And come back to center. Let's bring the left hand to the floor or to the chair if you're in a chair, and reach the right arm up. And as you exhale, just a side bend. And as you side bend, imagine that you could really fill up the right side of the rib cage like a balloon as you breathe in, and press those ribs up and out. Pull the belly in and breathe again here. And back to center. Good. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, side bend over to the right, pressing those left ribs up, taking a breath into the side of the body, creating lots of space in the ribs so that the lungs can get all the oxygen that they need. Back to center. And then just some shoulder circles. Let your neck move any way that it wants to this morning. Just check in with the neck. So the Gemara talks about the 18 lower vertebrae, but not about the upper vertebrae, which is interesting. Just that one cervical vertebrae. Maybe it represents all the others. But this spine, the cervical spine, is pretty darn important because it holds up our head and our brain. So we want to bring some reverence to the neck, to its fragility and its resilience. Just like the Torah, right? You might pause in an area that feels a little tight and just take a couple of extra breaths there. Good. Go ahead and look straight ahead. And from your seated position, just start with some baby cat-cows. So scooping that tailbone underneath you, gazing toward your belly button, reaching those arms out, and spread those shoulder blades apart. And then as you inhale, coming into the extension of the back, gazing up, opening up the heart. Exhaling as we round. Thinking of the spine as the letter Vav that represents higher to lower consciousness, wisdom. That represents the body and the spine in Jewish mysticism. Good. We'll do some more of those from knee position in a moment. Let's go ahead and come to our bellies and focus on extending the spine as we move into a cobra pose. So first on the belly, start with the forearms underneath you, and the feet can come to the outer edges of your mat. So the feet are a little wider than usual. Rock from side to side. Feel the pelvis starting to settle in, ground into the mat. Press into the mat with your hands and forearms and pull your belly up and in. So as you do that, and as you tuck your tailbone, you're going to think of rooting, growing roots into the mat, and get a little opener through the chest here and a stretch in the abdominal wall for Sphinx pose. So we're actually extending the spine here, a nice spinal extension. And the wisdom of this extension sends a message to your adrenal glands to work properly, to energize you. And then go ahead and lower yourself down, and then drag your hands back toward your body. So those elbows are close to your ribs, the palms are flat on the ground at the lower rib area. Now your forehead, let's put the forehead on the floor, and we're going to firm up the whole lower body as we usually do, but this time I want you to think of extending your spine. So as you reach, start to lift your head, think of reaching your crown forward as if you could lengthen the neck a lot. And then as you lengthen your spine and pull your belly in, start to float up. And your cobra might not be as high as it usually is, that's okay. Lift your hands if you're able to and focus that work around the muscles of the spine. Keep lengthening the spine and then lower down. Take a breath. Press the tops of your feet into the floor. Squeeze your quadriceps, your thigh muscles. Scoop your tailbone underneath you. Suck in the belly and extend the spine. So lengthen the spine first, then start to rise up. It may not be visible to the naked eye, but you'll feel a difference. If your hands are on the mat, even press into the hands now and pull the hands, start to pull the hands back a little bit. So your hands won't move, but it's like an isometric extension in the spine. You're working your triceps here too. And then lower down. Good. Rest your head on your hands. Wave your legs back and forth. Crisscross the legs, so cross those ankles, bringing them toward each other and away. Just waking up the hip joint. Good. And then very carefully go ahead and come up, watching that you keep your belly engaged as you lift up and out of your cobra. And then wide knees. Come into a child's pose. Now if your ankles get sore, you can always use a blanket under your ankles just to take the pressure off. Or you can even put a blanket behind your knees. And come into your child's pose. So we're now in the spinal flexion, a little more rounded in the spine. The wisdom of the spinal flexion is that it helps the nervous system to come back to a calm balance. So extension is energizing, flexion or bending forward is calming. Now for a little tricep stretch, if you're open to it or you want to do that, you can start to bring your hands up. I'm going to offer this in a couple different ways. So either your palms will flip up and you're going to reach back as if you're going to pat yourself on the tops of your shoulders. Once you do that, you'll walk your elbows forward a little bit more and then try to press back through your hips towards your feet. So you're as if you're going to drag your arms back, but they won't go anywhere. This may not be available to everyone depending on shoulders and flexibility and stuff, so you don't have to go that far. You could bring your hands to a prayer and just start to lift them. Same thing, you can walk your elbows forward a little bit if that's available, and then press your chest down. Press your elbows into the mat. And imagine you could get those buns to sink down a little bit more toward the feet. And breathe into all these muscles in the underarm area, which help with breathing. And then release. Bring your hands back up underneath you. We're going to come into hands and knees or tabletop pose. And this time just start to explore all those movements of the spine on your own. So a traditional cat and cow, maybe some side bending. You can thread the needle to get into the rotation of the spine. Maybe bringing that right arm under the left arm. Resting there and just noticing the rotation in the upper spine behind the heart, between the shoulder blades. And breathe into that. Create space with the breath. Whenever you're ready, changing your thread the needle pose to the other side. And when you're ready, come back up to all fours. Wring out the spine a little bit with a couple of cat-cows again. And then we will come to standing and bring your massage ball with you. We're going to work on our feet. Go ahead and start with the right foot. Now today, as we work on the feet, I'd like to invite you to focus on the inner arch. As I've mentioned many times before, that inner arch, where the big toe is and all the way down to where the heel corresponds to your spine in Chinese medicine. So as we pause in these different areas along the inner arch, maybe pausing at some extra sore spots, we're actually doing acupressure, not puncture. I hope you're not doing acupuncture. Acupressure for the different systems in the body, the organs, the meridians, restoring balance to the body's energy system. The Torah of the body gives you guidance. So how are you being guided to work with your foot right now? What do you think it needs? What does it feel like it needs? And maybe stepping over to the other side if you're ready. Keep breathing. Take another minute on this side, listening to your foot, listening to what it needs. And then go ahead and release the ball off the mat and take a wide stance. And start to do your kind of floating twists here. Nice heavy arms, gazing over your shoulder as you twist, lifting your foot as you twist. So we want to keep the knees happy by tracking the knees over the toes. Good, let your twisting come to stillness. And bring your feet under your hips and just take a pause, a moment of noticing what's happening in the body, what's come alive, what's come awake, what feels sore, what feels good. then let your knees be soft, and we'll do our 3 thumps for our immune system. So just tapping under the collarbones. And center of the chest with a big ah sound. Good. And then tapping or knocking along the side of the ribs. Nice soft knees. Good. Shake it out. So just keep shaking it. Just be a little jello, bowl of jello. Good. While we're standing, let's do a little eye exercise that's also brain balancing. So bring your, it doesn't matter which one, but let's just say your right thumb out in front of you. And then you're going to draw a very big X without moving your head. So just follow, start your X up at the top right corner of your vision. And then draw a line all the way down to lower left. And then start up at the upper left and draw a line all the way down to the lower right. And then just start over, maybe starting on the other side this time. Big X's without moving your head, only your eyes. Great exercise to keep our eyes healthy with the use of our screens. Go ahead and rub your hands together. Cup your hands over your eyes. Just take a few breaths and just let the eyes float in the sockets. And if you could breathe some light, some color, some healing color into the eyes, what color would it be? Breathing color into the eyes. Let that color or air, that breath, whatever it is that for you, let it fill up the eye sockets and then overflow into the brain. And as you exhale, let it travel down your spine. One more deep breath of healing light into the eyes and brain. Breathing out, letting that breath just flow all the way down through the spine. Good, and then let your hands rest by your sides. Good. My eyes feel better. I don't know about yours. We're going to use our chair if you'd like to move through some standing stretches. So you also going to need your strap nearby and your blocks, because some of you may not want to use the chair. You might want to use blocks. So just have your blocks at the top of your mat. Your chair can be with the seat or even the back of the chair if you're not wanting to come down very far. So I'm going to demonstrate with the back of the chair. We'll face the chair and step the right foot forward and the left foot back, not super far. That left foot isn't turned totally to the front, it's at an angle a little bit. And you can adjust your stance so that when you come down, you're not going to bonk your head into your chair if you're doing what I'm doing. So we're going to start to square the hips first, and then with a flat back, you're going to start to hinge forward. And pause when you feel a stretch. That's going to be different for everybody. There's no rule about this. It's what's going on in your body. So you're going to pull your belly in. Now wherever you are, think of the axial extension of your spine. So grow your spine longer from the tip of your tailbone all the way through the spine to the base of your neck. Your head reaches forward. Keeping that extension, maybe you'll hinge forward a little more, maybe you'll stay where you are. Breathe. And then we're going to press ourselves, come back up. And we'll do this dynamically a few times. Nice and slow, pulling the navel in, starting to come down. Squeeze your thigh so that your knee doesn't hyperextend or lock out. On your own, coming out of it and into it a few times. Keep extending the spine. And this next time we're gonna pause and hold, and then bring awareness to your right frontal hip bone. See if you can notch it back just a little bit so that your hips are square. You're gonna probably feel a little more intense hamstring stretch here. Be really careful if you're dealing with any chronic hamstring issues. That's why we got this chair. You can just take it as small of a range of motion as you need. Let the wisdom, the Torah of your body guide you and direct you how far to take this. Take another couple of breaths. Okay, you're going to engage your belly, press into both feet, lift up, and step forward. Go ahead and shake that out. So we stretch the back of that right hamstring. Now we're going to stretch the front of the right leg by using our straps. So I like to make a little loop through the metal rings. You don't have to. You could just wrap it around you could easily just wrap it around your foot as well. So we're going to take it around our right ankle. I know it's not quite long. Well, it's almost long enough, I guess. If you double up and you don't create a ring. So let's see. So you've got it around your right ankle, and then you're going to bring that strap behind your back, like you're carrying a backpack or something. And you can use the support near you. Standing on the left foot, you're going to start to, I'll do this so you can see the side I'm doing. You're going to start to bend the right knee and use the strap to help bring that foot closer to your gluteus. So this is where we don't want axial extension. We don't want like lumbar extension here. We don't want to arch the back. We want to keep it really long. So axial extension, grow tall. Only go as far as you can before that lower back starts to compensate. Keep your knees close to each other. And tuck your tailbone underneath you. Really activate the leg. Take it as far as you can. And keep tucking the tailbone, pulling the belly in. And pressing those knees together. Breathe. And then start to let the strap slide down. Good. You can remove the strap from this side. And just place it off to the side of your mat. And we'll come into our hamstring stretch, which is really pretty much a pyramid pose in yoga, but we're just coming in and out of it dynamically. So we've got the left foot forward this time and the right foot back. Hips are square. You might even feel your frontal hip bones steering forward. So the spine really isn't coming into extension or flexion in this. It's axial extension, grows nice and long. And as you're ready, you're going to start to hinge forward till you feel a stretch. Pull the belly in. And then with your breath, you'll just come out of it gently. We're going to just do this several times. Keep squeezing the quadricep on the left side. Pressing into both feet as you rise up. So what I do is I inhale on my way down because that helps create space in the vertebrae. Inhale and lengthen the spine. And then exhale helps me to activate my core as I come up. So it protects the lower back. So maybe let's do one more and pause wherever you are. And then just notch that left hip bone back just a little bit to get in the outer side of the hamstring. Belly's pulled in. Don't forget the belly. And then come on up, step your back leg forward. Maybe do some hip circles. And then we'll come to our quadricep stretch on the left. Bring your loop around your left ankle. Bring that strap behind your back. Look down at your right foot. Make sure those right toes are pointed straight ahead. And you're squeezing the standing leg. And then when you're ready, start to bend the left leg with that foot coming toward your glutes. Okay, so we're going to pull the belly in, tuck the tailbone underneath. That's a huge difference. I notice it immediately when I do it. You get taller. So keif keifu fin. You go from bent to straight. Knees come close together. And breath is soft and gentle. Tuck your tailbone, even squeeze your glutes a little bit as you press the tailbone underneath you. And slowly start to release. Good. We are done with the strap. You can keep your chair nearby. You might want to switch it so that the seat is facing you though, and have your blocks. So we're going to take a side angle pose, extended angle. Right foot's the lead foot at the top of the mat. So basically let's come into warrior 2 to start. So the front heel lines up with the back arch, and that's how it's going to stay. You can bend that front knee. Maybe it's tracking over the ankle, maybe a little bit behind the ankle, just not over the toes. So you've got your warrior 2. Good. And then side angle. We're going to bring that right arm inside the right leg and lift the left arm. So I want you to really focus on the spine. A lot is happening here. But as you reach your arm over your head, I'd like you to imagine you have a pillow underneath the lower rib cage that's helping to prop the ribs up and helping create a nice extra side bend in the left ribs. Pull the belly in, press the hips forward, reach those the left rib cage to the sky. Breathe, side bend. This is your lateral extension. Now pressing into both feet very slowly, the arm first. Bring those arms back and come into reverse warrior. So drop your back hand. Watch what happens. We're side bending, but we have some rotation in the spine as well. So side bend happens as we reach back. Keep that front knee bent. You have some rotation in that lower back, maybe even in the mid back. Lots happening in the spine here to make this possible. As you exhale, pull the belly in and start to come back up. Good. We're going to change sides. Left foot is the lead. Warrior 2 base. Abs are pulled in. Come into your side angle. And watch out for dumping your weight into that. This is not a place to just hang out, right? It's not really there to support our weight. It's there to help us keep our form. You're going to reach your arm over and then imagine that invisible pillow underneath your lower rib cage is going to help prop the upper rib cage a little more to the heaven, and then rotate just back a tiny bit. Press the hips forward. Relax your toes. Notice if they're gripping the mat. Now you're going to press into the balls of your feet, the heels of your feet. Float your arms up through warrior 2, and then right into your reverse warrior. Extend the spine first, extension, side bend, and reach. A little bit of rotation there at the very end. Tapping into gratitude for the mobility of your spine, whatever it can do today. And float back through Warrior Two. Good. You can keep your legs wide. We're going to turn all of the toes to the front. Nice and wide. And then start to come forward into your Prasarita Padottanasana. So the blocks might be helpful here. Hinging at the hip crease. And releasing your effort. So here we create a passive axial extension. Before we're in active poses, we actively breathe into the spine and think of lengthening the spine. Here we use gravity to create that axial extension. And we're also in a little bit of a flexion, right? A little forward fold here. So let gravity take the weight of your head. Let your breath move between the vertebrae. Imagine what healing color you could breathe in from your feet all the way up into the spine. You're going to either stay here or you can join me in a twist here. So paying attention to the wisdom of your body before you choose to join me. If you're going to do a spinal twist, you can keep your left hand on the floor or the block, whatever is underneath you, and bring your right hand to your right hip. And just start with that and start to open up the chest to the right. And that might be enough for today. Really just notice how far your body wants to go, if your hand wants to stay on your hip or if it wants to come up. And it's just an offering, so really let your body tell you what it needs. Wherever you are, breathe into the spine. If you're in a twist, go ahead and change sides nice and slow, breaking it down into segments. One more breath wherever you are. And then releasing. Start to heel toe your feet together. And then bring your feet right under your hips. Hands are on the hips. Rise up with a flat back. Good. We're going to bring the hands to the lower back, to the sacrum. Bring the legs together. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. And reach the elbows toward each other. So you're really opening up the chest actively here. Looking straight ahead. This might be enough. This is a nice chest opener. If you would like to take it into spinal extension, then you will lean back and press your hips forward into extension here. And coming back. Upright, sweep the arms up overhead. And then exhale, take a forward fold of your choice. So you can land wherever works for you. Knees can be bent or straight if you're able to straighten them. Release the weight of your head. Breathe into the forward fold, the spinal flexion, the benefits of the flexion, calming the nervous system. Good. So just from here, we're just going to come to our knees. Clear. If you need if your chair's on your mat, you might want to move it off your mat just a little bit. Let's keep those blocks nearby in your blanket. And come onto your back. And walk your feet to the outer edges of your mat. So your knees are bent. And arms can be in a T or overhead, anywhere that works for you. We're going to drop both knees to the left. So the soles of the feet will come off the floor. Just till you feel a stretch in probably your hip flexors or your abs. And then just go to the other side. Just windshield wiper the knees from side to side, nice and slow. How full can you get your lungs now? We've done a lot of side bending that has created space, muscular space in the rib cage to expand. So how much air can you get as you breathe in and out? And coming back to the original reading, when the writer said, if your body was a prayer, how would it move? Just contemplate that inquiry for a moment. You can walk your feet back in towards your mat, maybe knock your knees in toward each other. Just as you lie here, just noticing, if your body was a prayer right now, how would it move? Maybe the prayer of your body is asking what it needs. So take another few minutes to really explore what is left for the body right now. Anything that you might need. And let there be no rules to this. This is your relationship with your body. And perhaps you've begun to move toward stillness. If you haven't, I invite you now to find the most comfortable position that you can be in for Shavasana. The stillness, Shavasana, is a time when wisdom reveals itself. It reveals itself in our movement and our breath. It also reveals itself in the moments of quiet and stillness and space. So as you release your efforts and support the body, Allow yourself to be open, just like the Torah scroll, just opened up to that divine place within that is ready to shine its wisdom, to illuminate your intellect. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Ha'Olam Asher be'ado nefesh kol chai v'ruach kol b'sarish. Praised are you, Adonai, sovereign of the universe, in whose hand is every living soul and the breath of humankind. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe. With divine wisdom, you have made our bodies, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, were one of them to fail, how well we are aware, we would lack the strength to stand in life before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of our health and strength. Take a deeper breath in through your nose, and as you breathe, feel your spine lengthen, even where you are now. As you exhale, letting go of anything that you don't want to bring with you as you rise up today, as you step into this new moment. Breathing in healing and wisdom. Breathing out, letting go of what you do not need anymore. And when you're ready, roll to your side and gently rise to seated. Let your hands rest on your heart or in prayer at your heart. And we close with this universal blessing. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be free. May all beings be loved. And may all beings have peace. May it be so. Ken Yehi Ratzon. Shalom.